What's up, Micah?
What's up, dude?
We don't have to deal with kid stuff today because it's Dad's night out.
That's right, Dad's night out. We're wearing plaid, we're smoking cigars, we're drinking whiskey.
Great.
And what are we watching?
We're watching grown-up movies today. Well, we're going to continue the theme from the last Dad's night out we did of aliens. We're doing 80s sci-fi. We're doing aliens.
That's right.
So, yeah, we're kind of kicking around different ideas to jump into. I think Aliens, as much as it's an action movie, is a movie about motherhood. So more on that take later. But we're talking about aliens today.
Yeah, Aliens. So Alien 1, just known as Alien, that was 1979.
Yep.
And, you know, we don't need to dive too much into trivia because there's other great channels out there, like All the Right Movies and stuff that like
I think the Alien series has its own podcast.
I'm sure
someone sent it to me. It was called the Perfect Organism.
Nice. Yeah.
So
I respect
if you're a fan of that, exactly. If you're a fan of that, go check out that podcast. I'm sure those guys are great. But
1986.
Yep.
1986, the sequel came out. It's like 7 years. Like that's a long time to wait for a sequel. And part of it is I don't think that there was ever any sequal intended. I think Alien was completely a standalone film. It was originally like this Roger Corman style B movie sci-fi script.
It's the B movie sci-fi script, kind of art house movie.
Yeah.
Sci-fi horror, different genre than what this is, but it was it's a unique one. In a lot of ways it's a 101.
Yeah, and it was almost like early cinema verite in that like they built for Alien 1 by why is his name escaping me in this moment?
Ridley Scott?
By Ridley Scott. Ridley Graham's. They built the ship. They built the interior of the ship the way it would actually be laid out so that they had to choose their cinematic coverage to suit the actual location as though it were a real location. I don't even know if they had fly walls or anything. They probably did. But but they built the ship. And so in a weird way, it was like a 1979, found footage almost, the cinema verite.
I've heard a lot of that where it's like it was written as kind of like low level B movie, but with like big budget, like we build all the things and they went and handed it to a bunch of, first of their generation artists, like getting H.R. Geiger and everyone who knows how it's actually pronounced. Feel free to correct me. I won't pay attention to it or care. But H.R. Geiger, like no one had ever seen creatures like that. 90% of the time you see the creature in a movie and you're like it was better when it was in shadows and I didn't see it. Yeah. And this one is like, can you please put it back in shadows? Yeah. It's terrifying.
Terrifying. Yeah.
I think there's only like 2 or 3 creatures I can think of. It's like, this is a truly terrifying creature design. Yeah. My first exposure to Alien was rough. I was 6 years old and they're showing the unedited Alien movie on the TV. I don't remember what it was. Walked in right at the chest burster scene.
Oh, goodness.
Most traumatizing experience of my childhood right there.
Yeah, yeah. Welcome to adulthood.
Welcome to adulthood. And at that point it started an session where I was like, what the hell did I just see? I couldn't stop thinking about it. I was terrified of it, nightmares, all of that. But also I remember at the time, like my parents and my parents' friends, like, what was that movie? And I kept asking questions about it. I think when you're traumatized about something, you want to master it. You want to kind of understand that. I think I was putting the pieces of something like that together. I think that scene is known as like one of the most terrifying scenes of all time.
Yeah.
I couldn't go near this series. I would be interested mentally in it. I couldn't go near the series until late high school. I remember middle school friends starting to get into it and I'm I can't, it's too much. It was too scary. And now it's one of my favorite series ever because it's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I was introduced to Alien franchise by Alien 3, actually.
Okay.
My dad had rented it. I did the thing, where you sneak up the stairs and you peek, and I think it was Alien 3, which we'll talk about at the end. But
sure.
But then, I went back and was like, what is this series? That creature is so scary. And Sigourney Weaver is so cool. What is this story? I have to know. And so I went back and then similarly, one of my favorites. And even the ones that people think are bad ones, I love.
Sure.
But so this one, it gets handed to James Cameron. So he puts the whole color palette in blue because that's his deal. And And so the first movie is like a trucker movie.
Yep.
It's just
it's a trucker movie, but it's a sci-fi horror kind of art house thing going on.
Yeah.
And Aliens, they give it to James Cameron, full action movie. Like,
right.
It's the same thing you did with Terminator 2 from Terminator.
Yeah.
Big budget, action, Marines, big guns. And I've heard some people allude to this as like some symbolism around the Vietnam War.
Sure. Yeah, and I wonder about that. I'm sure there's something to that. And we're so far from it now that we didn't experience that, the like ongoing cultural trauma of this like meat grinder going on that your friends are disappearing into.
Yeah.
But
I also, as an aside on that, like I just heard a thing about like there's more movies about the Vietnam War than like any other war by far. Like they were coming out with like one every year for a while.
Yeah.
So like it wouldn't surprise me if this one kind of had some of that energy to it, as they're going for more of like a war combat style with that.
Yeah.
How much is an allegory to that? I don't know. Maybe we'll get into some of that. But
yeah. Well, let's dig in. So, one of the things we've talked about before in terms of crafting a movie is like every line of dialogue should be funny, develop character, or further the plot, or a combination, right? And so the very first line of dialogue in this movie is regarding like that they cut open the door, they come in. So like the opening of the movie is almost a reverse of the last shot of Alien 1 7 years prior. Coming back in across the same escape pod, and so we're just seeing like, where have we been for 7 years? And we come back and you find Ripley. She's in the exact same position with the cat. And then, the machine comes in and the salvagers come in. And the first line of the movie is like, she's alive. Yeah. Well, there goes our salvage. And so it's a joke. Yeah. And it tells you immediately what this movie is about, which is the commodification of human life, right? Like they come in and like the fact that she's alive is a bummer because you were after cash. And, and that ultimately winds up being what drives the whole plot of this. We discover halfway through what happens to the colony. But but this first line is brilliant. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So from here, you were saying that this movie is about motherhood.
Yeah. So, and that kind of gets to my, one of, I think, the big takeaways about just Ripley, the character, is I can't think of a better female protagonist action hero than Ellen Ripley in Aliens. Like, it's and to I would say to a lesser extent, but it's still a really good job in Terminator 2, Sarah Connor, because they're both distinctly moms. Sarah Connor more overtly, but Ripley in early on, she they ask her where's her daughter. Well, she's been hypersleep 56 years. Like her daughter's passed away.
Yeah. Now that is in the director's cut.
Okay, is that not on the actual?
That's not in the theatrical cut. And so I actually had a note in there about this because well, for one thing, the weird thing is almost all the time, except for maybe the Lord of the Rings movies, like the director's cut is stuff that needed to be cut. And this is interesting because, like, on the one hand, like, I wonder if it was too on the nose for her being a bereaved mom going into this. But it was really cool. And it was very early in the whole sci-fi journey in terms of playing with what time does. Like way before Interstellar, where that was like the driving force of the plot. She's a mom. And so even in the theatrical version, the whole nature of like the chest burster is a little bit
birth. It's
this,
giving birth.
It's this hellish birth process.
We'll
get
into it when we talk about the symbolism of the creature and how it's designed. And
well, let's get into it. Go ahead.
Okay. So like we're saying the alien is one of the most terrifying designs. I think you said it to me this way once. It's a giant penis monster.
Totally. It's a penis dragon.
Penetrates his victims. Yeah, it's a penis dragon that penetrates his victims and is violently birthed out of its host, which it's infected through a non-consensual process. Like it's rape, it's sexual violence, it's all of that meaning embodied in this one terrifying creature design. And you would probably know more on like H.R. Geiger and some of his stuff. If you've ever gotten into any of his art, like it is dark and
it's insane. It's like the darkest pornographic weird stuff. But
I heard that like he would just draw his nightmares.
Right.
And of course, he has a horrific story of all the things he'd gone through. Right? But so he would draw his nightmares, and then I don't know if it was really Scott or Hollywood or like they discovered some of this guy's artwork, and then they adapted it, and he was an integral part in many of the designs around Alien, and it's intense, man.
But yeah, I heard a story where he was actually detained at the airport. I don't know if this is true. Yeah. He was detained at the airport by law enforcement when they went through his stuff at customs because he was bringing all of his sketches.
Yeah.
And they were so otherworldly and like lifelike and so like high resolution, precise, you know, that they were like, is this guy, like, are these real? Is this like a bioweapon? Is this like documentation about an actual creature? Like, what is this? And they actually detained him till they could like clear him. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
That would be an excellent myth. And, you know, some myths are more true than truth, you know? So let's just say it happened. And so
but
he births his nightmares for all of us so that we can then acquire them.
Yeah. And they're nightmares. I heard so interesting thing about like an early production of Aliens. They were going to give it to Spielberg, and Spielberg's idea, which he said now would have been a terrible idea, was to do the misunderstood creature and it's scared and it's out for survival. And you hear that and you laugh like you're doing now, because with this creature design, that does not work. No. Like, you know, we talk about like
levy sympathy for this thing.
No, we talk about like evil incarnate. Like that's something about this creature design. It's like, I don't see any way that, which is why like the company, which is trying to bring this thing back for a bioweapon, which is the constant theme throughout the first 4 of them, is like, this is a terrible idea. This never works out well. This thing is untamable, is unmanageable, it will always create chaos. It will always lead to the deaths of everyone around you. If it gets anywhere near anything, they're making Alien Earth on FX coming out soon, but it's always like, don't you idiots, don't let this creature anywhere near, because of, and Ripley even at the beginning says like, I'll go down on the mission as long as we're going to kill it. We're going to wipe this out. And in today's movies, where we like to have an understanding for our villains and what's their backstory, and understand, like, this stands in stark contrast to that, where like the idea of sympathy towards this thing is like, no way.
Well, and there's even a moment of that. Sorry, go ahead, finish your thought.
The idea of sympathy towards it feels morally wrong. Because I mean, it is, but all that I think speaks to the creature design and H.R. Geiger and how they what the alien actually does.
Yeah, like we admire its purity, just like what, you know, what's his name does in the first movie. And they even in the 4th Alien movie, there's that bit where I forget that Brad Dourif, what's his name? The actor that plays Wormtongue. He plays a scientist in the 4th one, and he's kind of like messing with it. He's like hitting it with liquid nitrogen or whatever, and sort of like torturing it. And even then, you're like, and they play him to be like the least, like, you're so okay with this scientist getting killed, but even then, you're like, I'm sorry, I'm still on the scientist's side. Like,
totally,
Like the only problem I have is that he's being dumb by messing with it.
Well, it's
not that he's cruel.
It's the Promethean, like, you're getting too close to something that like you can't handle, and it's gonna torture you for the rest of your days. Like, problem.
Okay, so all of that happens way later. Right now, we're dealing with, we've got Ripley. She's displaced in space and time. It was a trucker movie. It was an escape film more than anything. And so now we're in the 80s. We're out of the 70s. We're into the 80s. And she's, you know, it's 60 years later for her. And this is, I think, one of the early movies where corporations were the bad guy, which was a very 80s thing. Like 80s was the emergence of these, you know, international megacorps that defied all reason. It's why American Psycho was put in the 80s, is because there was this emergent phenomenon of like CEOs being these psychotic gods among men, and the race for that kind of power. And so RoboCop's one of those movies too.
We covered that.
So this is 86. So it's maybe a Vietnam movie. It's maybe a corporate greed movie. Some both. Vietnam had corporate greed tied up in there, the M16 and all that. Ripley, here she is, and she's got to decide, she's having these nightmares of giving birth to a monster.
Yeah. Well, so nightmares of giving birth to monsters, and then they approach her and they say, "Hey, we lost contact with the colony. We want someone around who's had. We think it's these creatures. We want someone who's had contact with these creatures out down there to like consult with."
Yeah. And they've experienced the conflict where that, you know, when they're debriefing her and they're saying, you know, $42 million vessel, all this stuff. And she says all this bullshit, grabs the papers that you think is important. You can kiss it goodbye. And so we have the edifice of the commoditization of human life and humanity versus this, you know, not bleeding heart in a like a negative way, but this, she's experienced the human loss. And she is the compassionate mother.
Well, she's the compassionate mother. And I think there's actual like reason in there as well, because who cares about the stupid stuff? These aliens get here like, you're all dead.
Yeah. Like, and you can't imagine how awful it was.
Right.
Like the mode of death is just horrendous. It's like the worst way you could go. Yeah. And you notice the thing about the alien is it never gets you when you're not looking. Like, it makes you look. You know?
Yeah. That's good. No, that's a good point. It's never like, hey, the guy got grabbed from the back. It's always like you're creeping around, and then he turns, and then the alien's just staring you right in his face as its jaws open up, and then
no easy
trauma
death
makes you stare it. The evil makes you stare it in the face as it gets ready to rip you to shreds.
Yeah. So she is haunted by visions of the monster. So I have, you know, our two theses coming at this. I'm still looking at this again almost as a fairy tale. Yeah. And so she's a trucker, you know, for the sake of fairy tale lexicon. She's a woodcutter. She's a milkmaid. She's a
tradesman.
Yeah, she's just random medieval tradesperson, right? So she's the woodcutter, and she is being invited to go out.
The knights out to slay the dragon.
Yeah, go out with the king's men, with the elite knights. We need you because you've seen the dragon before. Yeah. Come with us out into the wilderness to rescue this village that's been overtaken by these penis dragons. And so she goes. And she goes because the dragon that's inside her psyche won't release her until it's exercised. So nowadays she's a bit like Geiger. She's got these nightmares. She's got to get them out and purged so she can sleep.
And therapeutically, we know from exposure therapy, if you are confronted with trauma, you have to face it. She's got the wisdom to know, as long as these creatures are out there, I won't be able to be free of this thought in my head. I won't be able to sleep. I won't. And as reluctant as she is, as much as she doesn't trust the company's motives with this, like, I can't sit here and just let that go, especially when who's the sleazeball guy, Burke, says to her, like, we lost the colony, the families that were down there, that grabs her. Families, the children, just like, gosh, the thought of that, and it that tears her up, and she's like, I can't not go.
Yeah. So she goes to the King's Men. We get, you know, the kind of character intros that only Cameron can do. He's so good at these motley crews, and it's dated now. You know,
no, but it's good. It still works. It's still good. They wake up from hypersleep. Come on, ladies, let's get going. So there's the sergeant, and then come on, Vasquez, and whatever mistake you for a man, like that. All the banter and dialogue around that, like, and
it's great.
And you get these little glimpses, and I don't know anyone who like doesn't like that.
No, and it's so tight. Again, does it develop the character? Does it develop the plot? Is it funny? And usually it's 2, if not 3, even when it's this throwaway banter. You get a sense of who the lovable main characters are. You get a sense of this unit. Yeah. And then, you know, the pain in the ass, the, you know, LT, this non-com, you know, you get some of these movie like war tropes. Yeah. And then what's cool is at first you're like, who are these jerk offs? Yeah. And then it's time to get to work, and they like bust ass, and they get in their elite, and it's like, oh, these guys are elite. Like they screw around and everything, but then that just lends to how hardcore they are once you see them suiting up and deploying.
Right.
is that attitude, which I
Right.
imagine is similar to what people experience when they actually hang out with,
Sure.
spec ops guys, is
Right.
that
Right.
they're jokers and they're crazy and they
Yeah.
complain and they
Yeah.
whine and all that, and then it's like go time and you're
Go
going, oh
time,
my
and they
goodness,
lock in. Right.
these are machines. And so it's cool. So
But
they,
okay. So with that, and going back to the theme of like Ripley, the female protagonist, the mother, she stands in stark contrast to these guys because
mhm,
ultimately she's the badass hero of them amongst these like highly trained badass brute marines who are tougher than her, who are stronger than her, who know how to use guns better than her. But what sets her apart from them is her maternal instincts. We'll get more into the story, but when
yeah,
she discovers the little girl Newt, that's where she finds the heart of what man. And when you see all the nuances, we'll get into it more later. The nuances of what makes her like courageous, it's all Mama Bear stuff that
yeah,
starts
she
coming out.
kicks into a new mode at that. She goes,
Yeah,
they even call her Snow White
yeah,
when she emerges, right? So
right.
they here she is, she's lost, and they're, the dwarves that do the work, and then here comes, we're gonna tote Snow White along with us. And
Yeah,
so she goes from consultant, and she kind of shows some, when she does the thing with the suit and like,
yeah, yeah,
where do you want it? And the two guys that recognize her potential and her talent,
yeah,
and so she's super trucker, like
yeah.
she's a woodcutter, but
Well,
she's a really good
she's a
woodcutter.
good worker. She's
Yeah,
competent at what she does,
yeah,
but she still is a grunt. But it's also
yeah,
not the Rey in Star Wars where you're better
yeah.
swordsman than everyone else from day
Right. She's
one,
torn from the thigh of
or
Zeus, and she's
yeah,
yeah,
or Wonder Woman in the new one where like you just kick ass better than all the men in the whole
yeah,
process, which is to me like this stands in such stark contrast to those kind of modern versions of
yeah,
the female protagonist, which to me feels more just like you're just doing a male protagonist in a female's body,
right,
whereas like Ripley is still very much an action hero, but she's Mama Bear. And
yeah,
she that instinct is what drives the whole character. And I
yeah,
think if you lose that, it's not interesting. It doesn't work.
yeah. And in this instance, and we'll get there as we go, but in this instance, it is Mama Bear versus Mama Bear, which
Yeah.
what winds up being the crux. Not to skip ahead, but so
Yeah.
okay, so they drop down onto the planet. This is the crossing the threshold. This is
Yep.
35 minutes in.
Yeah.
We get the first bit of action, and so that's the point of no return is when they actually leave the ship. And so
I'll say just a note on that. Another thing about these movies, the slow pacing. You're 35 minutes in
mhm,
before there's any action. You don't see the
yeah,
creatures until much later. It's the same in Alien. It works
yeah,
so well in
yeah,
these movies, especially with like how terrifying these creatures actually are. But the way they just ratchet up the tension slightly as it goes on, and yeah, it's great.
yeah. And it's this brilliant horror structure. I think,
Yeah,
like recently, Barbarian was a very frightening film, and I think
yeah,
you go 45 minutes an hour without seeing a creature in that
yeah,
too. And
yeah,
so the horror formula, visual formula, is typically, you don't want to bring the monster in too soon.
hmm,
Like, you really gotta wait. Just like
yeah,
what we saw early on was the beginning of the chest burster, but not all of the chest burster. It was
yeah,
just
yeah,
enough to
yeah,
know, oh, there's monsters in this movie, not enough to let you see them and relieve your tension.
yeah.
So
Right.
35 minutes in, we still haven't seen it. They drop down to the planet. 45 minutes in, you still haven't seen it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's where the first time they find the
The hide.
the face huggers at 45 minutes in med lab.
Right, right.
And,
Yeah,
and at 51 minutes, they kind of plant Bishop as being maybe the villain. Because so far up till now, Paul Reiser's a good guy. We like him.
totally.
He's
Yep,
likable. He's on
yep,
Ripley's side. He's put this mission together to go
yeah,
take care of the colonists. We're
yep,
suspicious of the androids because of last time
yep,
when Bishop is like, I'm gonna study these things. You're
yeah.
like, uh-oh.
You're like, oh, geez, this thing again.
And so we hit the midpoint of the movie at 60 minutes. Things don't go wrong, and we don't see monsters until an hour. You've been sitting in your butt in the movie theater for an hour.
Yeah,
And then it suddenly goes from being a rescue mission, because the midpoint of your film is always
yeah,
where you change
yep,
strategy or tactic. It's always where the
yeah,
movie sort of inverts and becomes a
yep.
new plan.
New
It
thing.
goes
Yeah,
from war movie and rescue mission
yeah,
to survival escape.
yeah, yeah.
and it's now a horror film. Yeah. And in that moment, Ripley also goes from Snow White and Woodcutter to taking charge.
Yeah, she's along for the ride with that, and then the Marines go down to the hive. They get destroyed by all the aliens and chaos, or by all the aliens. The chaos breaks loose. The one guy who's supposed to be like their command director back in the little tank, he's incompetent, and Ripley says, "I'm stepping in. I'm going in," and so she takes charge.
She grabs the wheel. She drives the car. Yep. And she goes from consultant to where she's like, "No, I'm going to become a soldier. I'm going to do what it takes to become a soldier." We've already discovered Newt. Right, so she's got Newt along for the ride, and then everyone's true colors start coming out. So it's at that midpoint where it turns, and we see, Bill Paxton's just unbelievably brilliant performance. Yeah, where he turns into he loses it. He turns into a baby. Yeah. Paul Reiser starts showing his face as soon as they start talking about going into orbit. Nuke it from orbit.
This place, and it's like there's too much money invested.
It's a substantial dollar value. Yeah. And so we see he's commoditizing the people again. It's about the dollars. And when we see Hicks, who up until now, he fell asleep, man. Right. He's just a professional soldier, and then he has this thrust, this greatness thrust upon him. Yeah. And so he shows his true colors. He goes, "Okay,
you copy?
Yeah, I'm leading the group." And then let's see. And so then we also develop this proto mom as she starts more and more to take on a motherhood role of Newt. He has these glimpses of being proto dad, where they're looking at the map, and he picks her up and puts it on there, gives her his helmet. Yeah. Teaches her affirmative.
Oh, that's good.
Right. So he starts showing these signs that and you start getting the romantic tension between Ripley and Hicks. Yeah. Where, and this is the way it works in real life too, is for a woman, they want to see, are there glimpses in this, yes, you want a man that's capable and strong, and he's a badass and all that. Hicks is super soldier guy. But he's also, listens to Ripley, listens to her, takes her seriously, considers her viewpoint, is compassionate towards the child, shows glimmers of fatherhood, being capable father. So he sort of does all these things where you're like, oh, okay, we've got this little proto family that's emerged where you've got and then he gives her a sword. So shows him the gun and shows her how to use it, which is in the hero's journey. The hero receives the sword. So you've got the soldier teaching the woodcutter, okay, here's the plasma rifle. We're going to show you how to do this thing.
And I think so the story progresses. I think you see more of that maternal side comes out as Burke, as slimy as he is, Paul Reiser's character, locks them in the room with the face huggers while she's trying to put Newt down to sleep, because girl hasn't slept in weeks, and she's being there as a mother. She's trying to comfort her, right? And then is that the first scene where she goes in full protector mode? They're battling the little face huggers that are in there. She figures out a way to signal everyone after Burger's trying to shield them from it, and then they come in, they rescue her. So then you're starting to see, I know I keep coming back to this mama bear theme with Ripley, but it's all of the heroic action steps she makes comes from that place. So then you fast forward later as we progress in the story, when Newt gets taken, they're running from the creatures, they're running from the aliens, and she falls down into the water. And then one of the coolest scenes where you see the alien emerge up out of the water to rescue Newt. And Ripley's thing is no, she's seen them cocoon people, there's still time to save my child, right?
Right.
And everyone else is no, let's leave, right? But she's no, I have to save my baby. So that is screaming out of her at that point.
Yeah, and in the facehugger scene, one of the brilliant things about it from a film perspective is we've seen these guys mow down aliens with machine guns, we've seen these guys be cool and tough, and so you're going oh, they might have a chance, but then this is a reminder that two baby aliens takes the whole group to take them out. And so it's this great moment of going oh yeah, no, these things are still way meaner than you. And it's just a reminder of what's at stake, because it's been a long time. At this point, we're getting to, I think in my notes, it's 90 minutes. Yeah. Right. So it's been 30 minutes since the last time we saw an alien.
Yeah.
And and they've been prepping, and you're like, oh, you're feeling good about their prep. Oh, they've got a good chance because they barricaded. Bishop's on his way to do the thing. And then we see like, oh no, 2 baby aliens, eats up a bunch of their ammo, like it takes all of them to kill these things.
Yeah.
And at that point, Paul Reiser Burke has revealed his true colors. His plot comes out, and we see that the real monsters, we've got monsters within and without.
Yeah.
And so, they at that point, all the lights turn red, and we go into the innermost cave. Like, this is that part of the hero's journey structure where like the things are going to get as bad as they can get, where there's no way out. Right?
Okay. So
that's where they have to escape, and like you said, and then
and Nuke gets taken.
Brilliantly, all of these little characters get their arc.
Yeah.
Like Vasquez and Gorman have she wants to kill him, and they have that moment together where they come together over the grenade, and they both act like Vasquez's idea of like a proper soldier, where they're giving their life.
They say, I think the timing is about the timing of the movie. Like, we got 20 minutes till this place explodes. Yeah, and so okay, there's not much time. There's about 20 minutes left in the movie, so that lines up. Yeah. But then they have to go back to the hive where they originally got all messed up, and they the only hint of an alien queen is early in the movie. They're like, they're all congressing there. All the aliens are in that place. There must be something there we haven't seen. They dropped that line.
Something we haven't seen. Yeah.
And then so she's following the tracker that was put on Newt, and Ripley going to find her kid. Newt's not her kid, but for purposes of the movie, like that's her baby.
Yeah.
She goes to find her, and she rescues her.
She takes a torch and a sword, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And goes into the cave of the dragon,
right?
Of the penis dragon. And in this case, it's not only a dragon, it's also an evil queen. And so it's brilliant. It's like the evil queen and the dragon and penetration all wrapped up in this one creature.
And it's the benevolent mother versus the evil mother that is just giving birth to death.
Yeah.
And the one thing that keeps her from getting attacked or ripped to shreds is she's like, I'll blast all these eggs.
Yeah. And isn't that great filmmaking where there's no dialogue. It's this inhuman, it's a giant puppet, and Ripley.
Also no music during that scene.
Yeah.
They do such a good job of just like the breath of the voice trying to be like, don't draw any attention. But it's like, it's great.
Totally understand their whole communication.
Yeah.
Because here we get like mom to mom.
Yep.
And so, I think this is accurate. Like, women in professional environments that are run by women advance slower than women in professional environments that are run by men. So there's this queen bee phenomenon that happens.
Oh, that's interesting, right?
Where women in authority tend to be threatened by other women seeking authority. Mm-hmm. And I believe this is accurate. I should probably check it before we go putting it out there into the universe. But
here we are.
But regardless, and even experientially, every woman I know who has been in some kind of professional environment, and even in social environments, like, their greatest enemies tend to be other women and their, rivals, either for advancement or for social position. And so here we have like the ultimate showdown is the moms come at each other, and they're both fighting for their progeny.
Well, they're fighting for their children. I think that do not mess with my kid. Like,
yes.
That's the thing.
And the way that women fight is like, I'm not just going to beat you. I'm going to utterly destroy you.
Totally.
So Ripley, on her way out of the hive, is like, you know what? Screw it.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. And she just, because she could have just backed out of there and tried to get away. Who knows? Maybe there'd be a truce, Right. But instead she was like, like, you're going down.
Yeah.
And
but even so, like, again, the way Sigourney Weaver nailed this role, she gets like the badass, I'm intimidated by this person energy out, but she's also like, she doesn't look the most competent with a gun. She doesn't like the way she carries it, the way it's like you can tell she's a novice with it. She
but she's gonna get the job done.
She looks like a novice with it, but she's so determined at the same time. Like, and I think that's like the mom that's never lifted big weights, but I got to pull the car off my kid, like the superhuman strength that comes out. Like,
and by God, I'm going to do it. And it
Right.
lends, like you were saying earlier, it lends so much more credibility, so much more interest,
Yeah.
and so much more passion to that protagonist versus
Yeah.
I'm just effortlessly good at everything. Like, oh, it's just
Definitely.
black girl magic. Like I just,
Yeah.
I just do it. I'm just amazing at it.
Right.
To have like, no, she's not a soldier. She's barely learned to use this thing. She's terrified.
Yeah.
It's put together with duct tape. Like,
and the courage, because it's in spite of the terror, she still continues on because
she's still
I'm
going
protecting my kid.
Yeah.
So she escapes. She's trying to get away from this thing, and it does a good job of like the countdown has started, the place is about to explode, the dragon mother queen is starting to come after her. You can feel it. She's waiting for the elevator, like, damn it. And so you can feel the urgency. All the while she's like hugging tight to her baby. Then so she gets up to the top. Bishop's taken off. And the aliens and the alien queen is about to come. And then she accepts her fate. So they're about to get ripped to shreds. And in a last maternal instinct, she grabs these, close your eyes, baby, it'll be over soon. Even then, it's this maternal side is coming out, and then Bishop shows up and they're rescued.
It's almost like the we're gonna face the end. We're at least gonna be together. I'm gonna be a mom. You're gonna be a daughter in this moment. And so the evil alien queen also essentially goes, well, you killed my babies, so now it's on. Like I'm gonna abandon my uterus. She like separates from her egg laying apparatus or like whatever her thorax, and is like, I'm going to abandon the planet. I'm going to abandon my babies. I'm going to abandon this whole thing just to get you because you crossed the line, bitch. And so you feel that like you could piss the other aliens off. That'd be one thing. But you pissed the mom alien off. This is something else. And she's not just going to kill you. And so when we get up to the ship, the alien doesn't even go after her. The alien goes after Newt. And you buy it. You believe it. You're like, obviously she's going after the baby because that's going to hurt Sigourney Weaver way more than just killing Ripley. I'm going to kill Newt in front of you and then kill you.
So Sigourney Weaver's great line, she comes out in the power loader, get away from her, you bitch. Like, that's how moms fight.
Awesome.
That's how that's exactly how it sounds when like, get away from my kid. And
what's cool is the woodcutter goes back to her essentially enchanted axe, right? Like this enchanted thing from her trucker past is now like the weapon that's going to empower her, right? So she returns, and that's the hero's journey where you come back with the antidote. So she comes back to where she started, but with a new sense where like, this isn't a power loader. This is a suit of armor. Like this is a weapon. And so they do that battle. And so, there's like almost no denouement in this movie. Knocks her out the airlock. She completes the plot arc with Bishop where she reconciles with androids. And then it ends with, they finally get to go to sleep. Which was the whole thing. Like the whole mission was like, can I sleep at night? And so she comes back with a little mini Ripley who also becomes a soldier. So like her last line as they lay down to bed is affirmative. And so she has been, parented by Hicks and Ripley to be their little progeny. But the upshot like that I wanted to mention before we were done is, so like the fairy tale nature of it is going to fight dragons, but the mom nature of it and the comparison to what, the trope of like the strong female protagonist is one of the things that you almost never see is these badass moms anymore. There's this idea that motherhood is somehow infantilizing or it's somehow relinquishing adventure. And it's like, dude, motherhood is the craziest adventure you could go on. It's the scariest, most terrifying, that will take more from you than any other adventure imaginable is being a mom. And for modernity to throw that under the narrative bus is such a disservice.
It misses all the best parts. I mean, as we break down these films and these messages, it's like, you don't know what you're throwing out, man. Like that's like all the new alien movies that they keep coming out with once Ripley's gone after Resurrection. The character kind of gets twisted, and the studios had all their issues, and like the sequels that came directly after this. But in Prometheus, with Noomi Rapace's character, Elizabeth Shaw, and then I don't even remember the other one in Alien Covenant, and even in the new one, Alien Romulus, is a great film, like one of the best of the series, like since all that. But they keep trying to bring the badass female antagonist, and it never sticks. And part of it is Sigourney Weaver is brilliant,
right?
But part of it is also like you're missing the mom element. Like they don't do that. Like it's different. Is that they kind of do it in Prometheus, but she's barren and unable to have a kid. There's a hollowness to it. So Ridley Scott kind of revisited that, but it's what makes, I think, when it comes to female action heroes, Ripley's the peak of the mountain for me on that.
She's definitely up there. Yeah, and the thing that does it isn't that she's badass, it's that she's vulnerable. Yeah. And it's the vulnerability, it's the adventure in the face of vulnerability that makes it so badass. And the idea that motherhood is the sort of the negative space left over when you've abandoned adventure is I think horribly toxic.
I do think Ripley, like female action heroes, I think her and Sarah Connor from Terminator are in that category, because like the distinctly mom thing. I know I said that earlier, but it's such I've not seen it revisited. Also, Sarah Connor in Terminator 2, also James Cameron.
And Sarah Connor's character is like even way more masculine in her manifestation than Ripley is.
But her whole thing still raising up the kid, right?
Yeah, it all comes back to like, that's what it took for me to be the mom I needed to be.
The thing that works about her, and when you view this movie as like an exploration of motherhood, it's all the get away from her, you bitch line, and close your eyes, baby, it'll be over in a second. Like, they ring true, and they resonate in a way that you just kind of like you hit those moments in these other stories. I guess we're doing that thing now,
right? And I also think it comes from writers who are so obsessed with how clever they are in constructing a plot versus allowing the characters to create the plot. And that only two things happen in Aliens. Like they go to find out what happened to the colonists, and then they try to get away. That's it.
Right.
There isn't a convoluted plot at all. It's like Empire Strikes Back is they escape the Empire and then they rescue your friends. That's it. And and nowadays there's this emphasis to like make the plots so crazy, to like come up with a cool character and come up with a cool plot, and they just happen to coexist.
But even in the simple plot you're talking about, that leaves room for all the depth and the nuance and the stuff we've unpacked over the past hour.
Is you take a plot and you take good rounded characters and you put them in that situation, and then you let the characters inform how they're going to get out of it.
Well, then exactly. At that point, the writing, it's not, I need to come up with a story. I need to discover the story that unfolds from this place, which is what art is. It's a discovery of something. You find the things that ring true, and you put that element in, and then what's the thing that happens? And if it's a totally different way of approaching it, than if you're like, okay, we have these characters and we're going to use this character who you've known forever to make a statement about feminism or masculinity or whatever. Now you're in the realm of propaganda. I don't mean that in terms of governmental whatever, but it's like you're trying to push a message. It's the same reason like your stereotypical Christian movies just are so hollow, because like all you're doing, you're so preachy, and so much is like pushing this, like you're not telling a rich story where you're actually discovering elements of who these people actually are.
And letting them get in their own way, like we all do. And Paul Reiser being the biggest monster of the movie, and instead, as you're writing something and you go, it seems like the character would do this now, but I can't have them do that because it crosses the social moray of mine. It's like, no, let the character do the thing. Cross your social moray. Like the character's doing it, you aren't. Get out of the way and let them make a story. And so then what's funny about Aliens and the generational jump to the next movie is you have Cameron, this boomer, like cranking out this like larger than life, kick ass. We all win in the end, she gets the boy, she rescues the girl, they go off in peaceful sleep, and then you bring in like Gen X Fincher, who comes in and he's like, nothing they fucking all died, matters.
Never mind.
Yeah, they're all dead. You earned nothing. It means nothing. And now now you're in prison. You're in this gray
Remember
hell.
all those favorite characters? Like, they're dead before it even starts.
Yeah.
And you're on a prison planet with a bunch of the worst scumbags you could think of. Right?
So that's Aliens.
Yeah. So anyway, it's been fun doing these Dad's Night Out. I know we hit another like 80s sci-fi flick, but it's a good one. And I think like as we're doing these, I hope that some of the listeners start taking away like just a new way to watch stories in order to engage with some of these like these throwaway lines and the depth and the meaning. Like, pay attention to when you watch something that really resonates with you. Like, what is it about that line that just really gets to you? And I think when you start learn to think in some of these ways and pick up on some of these patterns, it opens up a whole new world around these things. So if you've been with us this long, I hope you've enjoyed that journey and continue with us.
Yep. And we'll see you on the next one.